I think most of you guys that have been watching know that I'm natural. I've been like filming my progress ever since I was 19 years old, been documenting it on YouTube. You can see my steady, slow progress and gains. Maybe unlike the last like 2 years in which I really haven't made that much progress muscle-wise.
What's up guys, Derek, more plays from Merijn.com. Today we're going to be talking about Merijn. I think I'm saying that right. Merijn. So this is I'm pretty sure this is the guy Greg said like Mergen or something. Merijn, I'm pretty sure is how you say it, but that's funny. I just remembered that. So I was watching Mike Thurston's vlog the other day, and I noticed this guy in the middle of it, who I've seen some of his stuff before. I think he used to be called Student Aesthetics, which is what I remember his channel as, and I guess it's he's changed it to his name now. But anyways, I was watching this vlog, and then this guy comes onto the screen, and I recognize Student Aesthetics, and he comes on here. And I was like, oh shit. When I literally, like, it's funny, this entire boat of fucking like hot chicks, and the first thing I noticed is how this guy is looking more saucy than usual. And I'm like, oh damn, this guy's really transformed. Like, he doesn't look so much different than what I remember, but it was enough to make my, catch my eye. And then I go through the video a bit more, and you can't see a whole lot here, but as you go through the video, you can see that this guy's holding a lot more mass than he used to at a same level of body fat percentage, essentially.
Your problems, baby, and I've got mine, 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 and I've got mine. You got your problems, baby, and I've got mine, and I've got mine, and I've got mine. You got your problems, baby, and I've got mine, and I've got mine, and I've got mine, and I've got mine, and I've got mine.
So this looks like a good time, obviously, and a fucking saucy yacht right there. Like, he probably got how many nanograms per deciliter of testosterone on this yacht? I can't even imagine. So anyway, I was like, damn, this guy like really picked up his physique over the past couple of years. Not that it wasn't good. It was good. It's always been good. This guy had what I considered to be like a great example of you've reached your genetic peak and you're not getting any further. Like, there's a few guys who come to mind when you think of guys who represent you have met your genetic potential, and this was one of them, because you basically, what they do is they basically bulk and then they cut, and they bulk and they cut, and they just go back and forth to the same physique, back and forth, essentially, because they've kind of exhausted their gains, essentially. So when you see a guy who's exhausted his gains like Merijn, and like, you can tell typically when a guy's natty when he cuts down, because he looks significantly depleted. Like, this was, I don't know how long ago this was. Let me pull it up on his page here. He did a competition recently, and like, this guy got lean as hell, like to the point where you're wondering if he's like surviving almost. But he gets diced. Like, he knows how to suffer to get in shape. I remember I saw this video, it's time to step on stage, and this guy just looks like so sucked down and lean, but he looked like he was natural. Like, this to me was representative of probably what his peak physique was, and then getting as shredded as possible and just depleting himself to the brink of fucking malnourishment, probably. Like, this guy looks like, scary lean here. Like, fucking Skeletor status and a half. Like, this guy could literally be like the next Scream if he wanted to. But anyways, so he obviously like knows how to suffer, he knows how to get in shape, and he looks good. Like, this guy, like I said, he's the pinnacle of like natural status, in my opinion. But his physique has more or less looked the same after he kind of like bounces back. He always kind of had a similar look, and you could tell it wasn't really going anywhere, just because, what can you expect when you're natural? You kind of just like gain back the intramuscular water and fullness that you lost, and you get a bit more fluffy and, you know, glazed over, but you don't really gain a whole lot more muscle above and beyond it. So, you know, he got like diced for his competition. And then I have a feeling, and, you know, I don't know if exactly when he did it, but I think after the show, like this was his before and after, or no, this is when he rebounded from the show. Sorry, if you go back before the show, and he looked really good at the show, man. Like this guy, like I said, he definitely knows how to suffer. Yeah, like way back as far here, like if you go all the way to the start of his Instagram, you're basically looking at more or less the same physique over and over again. It's either shredded or it's a, you know, slightly fluffier version of the same physique more or less, but it doesn't really fluctuate a whole lot. And, you know, like I said, he's a good representation of natural genetic potential, in my opinion, like for his own genetic potential, not what you're gonna look like if you peak out, but what he can look like when he peaks out. And he's looked like this for years. And then all of a sudden, like I said, I saw the Thurston vlog, and then that brought me to his Instagram, and I saw this picture, and he's sitting beside Thurston, the fucking god of chests himself, Mike Thurston, and he's looking like as big as Mike Thurston sitting down. Like these guys are, like Mike Thurston's not fucking small. Like this guy is a, you know, he's like a fitness model. He's not a bodybuilder, but he's a huge dude. And then we have Merijn, who's more or less looked like a natural athletic guy for a number of years, who all of a sudden is bulked up, and not only is he bulked up and looking like comparable to Thurston in leanness and size, maybe not in fucking sheer chest shield mass, but I mean, who the fuck is, right? But his physique overall is just like significantly better, and his face, when I say better, like the guy looks nitrogen retentive as fuck. Like he looks like he's glycogen loaded and holding way more nitrogen than normal. Like if you see his physique, he's the same leanness, but all of a sudden he's just gained more muscle. That's like the only way you can put it. There's no additional fat on his frame whatsoever. He's packed on like pure lean tissue. And you can see in his face, it almost looks more androgenic to me too. Now, you could just argue, oh yeah, he's leaner now, but it's like, this isn't the same look his face had when he was sucked down lean before. Before he looked, you know, like malnourished almost. Now he looks like androgenic as fuck. Like his face is literally changing, and it's getting from less baby face to more like, you know, manly, edgy, sharp features, it seems like. More angular features. And this is a common thing you'll see with guys who get on androgens. And to me, you know, the first thing I thought is, wow, this guy's comment section is probably fucking inundated with comments about his natural status, because I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one to see how blatantly obvious this is. So I went to his YouTube channel, and you know, he has all the videos of him before his competition, and then he has these recent videos of him in Ibiza. Am I pronouncing that wrong? Ibiza, or whatever the fuck it is. And in the comment section, and sure enough, in the first couple things, you scroll down, and top comment, is it just me, or did this man just get way bigger in the last few months? Whether it's gear or not, I couldn't really care less, since he works hard as hell, but I was just wondering if it's just me who noticed. Looks like Buddy Boy started the juice. Still like him anyways. What the fuck? I've been watching you for years and have never seen you looking like this. Must be on that special Brandon Harding diet. Nice work. Looking amazing, Merijn. Let's see. The anabolic chicken is full of glycogen due to diet. You deplete glycogen when dieting, dude. Like a lot of people are gonna think he just rebounded from his like show or whatever, and he's like super compensated of fucking carbs right now, and it's just not the case. Like this is a different look entirely than rebounding from a show. And I'm pretty sure his show was fucking a while ago, dude. So for him to be like, is full of glycogen due to diet, you deplete glycogen while dieting, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? And this guy's saying he must be in that sweet spot when he's not too shredded, is full of glycogen due to diet, and getting great pumps. His shoulders do look crazy massive though, who knows? And then this guy, Don Pasquale, is basically like shitting on him for not seeing the fucking obvious here, which is, it's not perfect diet that you somehow timed perfectly for Ibiza. It's fucking, you're on gear. So the next comment, there is a vid incoming. I started using steroids because he is an honest guy, ... or is he? And apparently he responded, so I guess let's see here. You know, I'm an honest guy. If you've been following me for some time, there's a certain video on the way in the near future that will answer your question. Oh, well, there you fucking go. So I went into this not even seeing that comment. So I'm pretty sure there's a video coming in the near future about it. And, you know, it's pretty plain as day obvious this guy has stepped it up. And I know like people have done natty or nots on this guy before, because he is a good example of a guy who has peaked his genetics. And honestly, like, to me, the reason why this is such a good example to kind of own in on is because instead of like really red flagging him as a guy who's like, oh, this is obvious, like, look at your physique, it's been the same for this long, and now all of it, like, these are the guys that it's the most obvious when they're using, is because they've looked the same for such a long span of time, despite doing competitions, despite fluctuating, going up and down, bulking, cutting, being very prominent on social media. It's kind of impossible to avoid people figuring it out if you've had the same physique for years. But the reason why I think it's such a good one to own in on is not because it's so obvious, but rather that this guy is an example of somebody who actually got to his genetic potential before taking gear. Because the main problem with everyone in this industry is they all start when they're like 18, 19 years old, which for some people, that's a personal choice and that's fine. A lot of people who are watching this video right now probably started taking gear at 18, 19. And to me, it's just funny though, because it's always the guys who preach, like the vets in the community who are like 30, 40 years old. They're always the guys on the forums who are like, don't take gear until you're 25 years old, you fucking idiot. Because if you don't take advantage of your natural testosterone production, then you're an idiot. You need to wait until your balls are atrophying and you're getting into your late 40s before you touch testosterone, because you're just wasting gains. And it's like, those are the same, those are the same guys who started gear when they were like 18, 19 years old. And then they try to like preach to the teens and the young 20s when they're in their 30s and 40s, saying how stupid you are for taking gear in your early 20s or whatever, when they themselves have been sauced to the gills for like 20 years. So there's always those guys who are gonna like, you know, come shit on guys in their 20s. But in reality, like Merijn, he's been lifting, as far as I know, like he's been on YouTube for a while. And he's been, as far as I know, pretty much like peaked for several years, to the point where it's like, you gotta be getting fed up at some point of not making progress. And like, I'm pretty sure getting to that point, going with your buddies to fucking Ibiza and being around saucy dudes all the time, and being in this industry, being natural, and being in your mid-20s when you bulked up and cut down so many times and seen no progress, it's kind of like the risk to reward is really going to get to you, in the sense that it's going to be extremely compelling to take on that risk, because, you know, only so many people can mentally tough out making zero progress for the rest of their life. And that's just what the reality of natural bodybuilding is once you reach that peak, you're limited by your endogenous androgen production. You're pretty much, you have a cap that no matter what, you're not really going to get past that. You can only dial in your diet and training so much more, where you're going to squeeze out another like 1 pound of muscle per year once you're peaked. So it's like, it's very discouraging for a natural. And for Merijn, it's like, he did it the right way. This is the way where not only are you going to be heavily scrutinized by people who know and can see how obvious it is that you took gear, and he's obviously aware of that, but on top of that, he actually got to his genetic peak before taking gear. So he has like the ultimate foundation to make great progress off of, versus the guys who started saucing to the gills before they even made like half their natural progress that they could have done, and then potentially limit their future growth and or just limit their longevity in the sport, or, you know, just stressing your organs, because eventually you're going to get to a point where you can't blast super physiological dosages anymore because of the taxing on your literal systems in your body. You can only blast so many times before you've reached a limit where your body just says, fuck off, I'm going to fail you if you continue to infuse me with drugs. So in terms of longevity and maintaining that physique for a long period of time with a high quality of health, it's in your best interest to maximize your physique naturally before you hop on the gear. And, you know, Merijn's, I don't know, in his mid-20s, later 20s, mid-20s-ish, and he's been training naturally for a while. Like, I think he is a good example of a guy, like I said many times, just being redundant at this point. But, you know, he trained from, I don't know if he was a teenager when he started training, I'm assuming so, and then, you know, kept going into his 20s and like grinded it out for several years, bulking and cutting and making minimal progress. Like, I've seen this guy looking the same for a while, and now all of a sudden, just like that. But that's what happens when you actually like literally push your body to the limit before you say, okay, like now it's justified at this point. I couldn't possibly do more with what I'm doing, and now the risk to reward actually makes sense. and it's the best possible outcome with the, you know, I've had the most time to educate myself on the process. I have the best foundation. My diet and training principles are completely on point, and I know how to not waste my time that I have exposure to these drugs in my system. Like, that's one of the worst things guys do too. It's not just about starting too early. The most problematic thing with it is these kids who start when they're 18, 19. It's not simply that you're too young and you haven't built a foundation. Rather, it's that not only A, do you not understand drug pharmacology whatsoever, B, you don't understand how to diet or train properly. So even when you have that significant amount of drug exposure that's probably unnecessarily putting yourself in harm's way with idiotic cycle protocols by guys who just have no idea what they're talking about, and they're just like reading cookie cutter bullshit off forums, you're using like a suboptimal protocol that's unhealthy as fuck, and then also using diet and training practices that are like wasting your drug exposure. Like, you only have so many blasts in the tank, and I've talked about this many times. You only have so many blasts in your tank before you get to the point where your body's gonna fight back and fail you, and you're not gonna be able to blast anymore. So you gotta take advantage of those and understand thoroughly the drug pharmacology, the endocrinology aspect, how it's going to regulate different mechanisms and functions in your body, how to go about attenuating side effects, how to go about proactively avoiding those, how to maximize your muscle growth by having your diet and training principles on point when you're on those drugs. Because some people just go into fucking drugs and not even know how to eat, and they'll just, you know, they just want to look full for a fucking party, so they'll take some D-ball. It's like, if you're not actually like pushing yourself to actually take advantage of the drug exposure, like, that's the kind of stuff you see guys burning out in like their mid-20s on gear and looking like shit. And you wonder, how's this guy even on gear? And he just doesn't look like it. It's those guys who didn't build a foundation, don't understand how to design an intelligent protocol, don't know how to eat and train, because they just never gave themselves the time to even figure it out. They just started saucing off the bat and doing everything stupidly. So anyways, I think it's pretty plain as day obvious that this guy is on the Sazul at this point. And frankly, you know, I think it's I don't know how he's gonna talk about it or how he's gonna come out and talk about it, but I mean, it's pretty fucking obvious. And you know, I honestly, like, I just want to give him props for clearly by this comment, he's implying that he's not gonna claim he's natural when he's not, at least from what I can tell. And B, he knew he would get put on blast for blasting, put on blast for blasting this far into his like fitness career or whatever. Because it's like, once you've stayed at the same body composition for several years, and you're like a high profile guy, like, you're pretty much fucked in that if you want to be a fake natty, it's not going to work, you know, like, people are going to notice. So he knew that. He's a smart guy, obviously. He knows people are going to notice, and like, it's good. If we didn't notice, there's a fucking problem, you know what I mean? So obviously this guy has things dialed in, and he's making progress now, so good for him. So it's going to be interesting to see what his video is about that, but it's good to see somebody actually like build a full foundation before hopping on gear, because that's like few and far between now. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you think he is on the fucking Sazul, you know? Because I think it's to me, it's obvious, but you know, maybe I'm wrong. You know, maybe he's gonna come out and say he did something else, even though I think it's highly doubtful. So let me know what you think. Drop a comment, helps the algorithm. Like, subscribe, check me out on Instagram at @moreplates_more_dates, Facebook, Snapchat, BitChute, Twitter, TikTok. If you want to get deep dives into bodybuilding pharmacology, risk management, how to stay healthy and avoid getting cardiovascular disease when you're blasting, how to avoid unnecessarily exposing yourself to cardio and neurotoxicity and oxidative stress when you're taking super physiological amounts of androgens, I recommend you check out my site or subscribe to my newsletter if you want to get my deep dives into bodybuilding pharmacology, as well as subscribe to the channel. Obviously, if you dig through my videos, I have some stuff like this, which is obviously designed to get people to click, but it's literally designed to get you guys to come in so that you can see my actual intelligent content designed around risk management of anabolics and stuff like that, which is actual intelligent content and isn't just mindless drivel. Not that this stuff isn't entertaining, but it's designed to get you guys into the actual good content. So just be aware of that. So if you want to support the channel, check out anything I am associated with in the video description below. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Talk to you soon.